Court fixes November 20 for judgment in Nnamdi Kanu's terrorism trial. Abuja Electricity Distribution Company sacks 800 workers. Army Chief visits Borno, charges troops to defeat Boko Haram. And away from Nigeria, survivors of Nairobi bombing renew plea for justice, U.S. compensation. A warm welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Memuna Bagudu. Now, the Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday fixed November 20 for the delivery of judgment in the terrorism case brought against the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Justice James Omotosho announced the date while ruling on the matter after Kanu failed to open his defense, having exhausted the 6 days allocated to him by the court to present his case. The judge held that since Kanu failed to utilize the opportunity granted to him to conduct his defense, he could not claim to have been denied his constitutional guaranteed right to a fair hearing. Meanwhile, Kanu on Friday made a motion challenging his trial on the grounds that terrorism was no longer an offense in Nigeria. And speaking to journalists shortly after the court proceedings, the lawmaker representing Umuahia South Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Obi Oguocha, pleaded for the political sentiment.
So this is a political trial veiled as a criminal trial. And for the stability of the Southeast and for the stability of Nigeria in a whole, to bring to end the civil war that was fought in 1967, means that the president should please look at the totality of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's trial and bring an end to this charade, a travesty of injustice, bring an end to it so that the Southeast can be peaceful again. Nigeria can be peaceful again.
Now, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has commenced a sweeping retrenchment exercise affecting about 800 employees, even as Nigerians continue to reel under rising inflation, soaring living costs, and erratic power supply. The mass layoff, which began on Wednesday, follows months of internal restructuring at the utility firm, which serves the Federal Capital Territory, Kogi, Niger, and Nasarawa states. And reports said the management had initially proposed to sack 1,800 workers before reducing the number to 800 after a series of tense negotiations with the National Union of Electricity Employees and the Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Allied Companies. A sample of the disengagement letter titled Notification of Disengagement from Service, dated November 5th, 2025, and signed by AEDC's Chief Human Resources Officer Adeniyi Adejola, confirmed that the exercise was part of an ongoing right-sizing process. The letter also stated that all affected staff will be paid their due entitlements upon completion of an exit clearance process. Now, there was a tension in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, on Thursday as individuals identified as ghost workers staged a protest at the T.Y. Danjuma house, demanding their reinstatement and payment of 4 months' outstanding salaries. The protesters, who insisted they were genuine employees wrongly tagged as ghost workers despite completing the state government's verification exercise, appealed to Governor Agu Kefas to intervene and resolve their grievances. The report.
Chanting solidarity songs and carrying placards with inscriptions such as "Pay us our salaries" and "4 months, no be 4 days," the demonstrators lamented the economic hardship caused by their removal from the state's payroll. One of the protesters said they have worked tirelessly and deserved their pay, insisting that they are not ghosts but humans with families to feed. Security operatives were immediately deployed to the scene to maintain order and ensure the protests remained peaceful throughout the morning.
Actually, the purpose of this gathering, or like a peaceful protest, is simply to express our our grievances to the government. We are active civil servants that had gone biodata screening. We undergo screening. After screening, all of a sudden they removed us from payroll. We don't know why. Some of us have been there in civil service for the past 12 years. Some of us 5, 2, and whatever, and beyond. And all of a sudden they remove us from payroll. We find it very difficult to survive.
For 4 months, sir, our salary has been withheld. We are hungry. We are not ghost workers. We are verified civil servants. We are human beings. We are Therapians. We are his brothers and sisters. Please, we are pleading with him. We are pleading with him. He shouldn't throw the child with the bathwater. He should please pay us what is rightfully ours.
This is an assembly of verified and authentic civil servants from Taraba State Government who have been verified during the process of the screening exercise and have not been paid for the period of 4 months, and which it has turned us to a shameful being in our own land. We now live in shame of not being responsible to our families. We couldn't do things we could do. We are very much hungry, and we try to reach out to other sources to find explanations to what is happening, but nobody is saying anything. So we decide that since we have a people-friendly governor, our own father, the governor who listens to people, so we now see it as an opportunity not to reach out to other people again, but rather to come right to the government house and see the governor and then talk to him, explain our grievances to him, and then seek for his support to help us out of this situation we have found ourselves in.
Addressing the protesters, Governor Kefas assured them that workers with verified employment records will begin receiving their payments from Monday.
If you are a civil servant, you have to go in the system. That means tomorrow you are going to be the leaders.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. If the foundation is faulty, yes, sir, nothing good can stand.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And that is why we have to build a very solid foundation.
Yes, sir.
I have told them that I want to know those that were employed properly. I want to know those that were not properly employed. I want to know those that are ghosts, so that we'll be able to perfect everything.
He added that those with irregular employment details would have their cases reviewed to determine their eligibility for payment.
And now moving on, the crisis rocking the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, has taken a new twist as the faction loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, on Friday dissolved the Board of Trustees led by former Senate President, Senator Adolphus Wabara, citing a loss of credibility and moral authority. The move followed the inauguration of a new Board of Trustees by the factional acting national chairman, Abdurrahman Mohammed, at a meeting hosted by Wike at his life camp official residence in Abuja. In his address shortly before the meeting went into a closed door, Mohammed said the exercise was part of efforts to restore discipline, constitutional order and moral direction within the party, which he lamented had been eroded under the previous leadership. The new Board of Trustees is expected to be unveiled at the end of the meeting. And our soldiers stationed around the Gero community in Jos South local government area of Plateau State allegedly killed a 17-year-old header, Mohammed Usman, around the area on Friday morning. Chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Makban, in Basa local government area, Ya'u Idris, confirmed the incident to journalists in Jos, stating the deceased was from Basa local government area grazing around Jos South. The Makban chairman also said the deceased is an orphan whose father was killed recently by gunmen. Ya'u explained that the header was shot dead by soldiers while grazing in the area, and the cattle were subsequently moved to their operational base in Jos South. Ya'u condemned the killing and called on the GOC 3 Division and Commander Operation Enduring Peace to ensure justice for for the victim, adding that he had informed the DPO and the DSS in Basa local government area on the incident. Major Samson Zakom, spokesperson for Operation Enduring Peace, a security task force maintaining peace in the state, whose soldiers were allegedly responsible for the killing, had yet to respond to an inquiry by our correspondent at press time. Now, the Ogun State Police Command has arrested 2 Cameroonian nationals linked to a notorious syndicate allegedly involved in luring and kidnapping unsuspecting victims under the guise of processing foreign visas. The command spokesperson, Chief Superintendent of Police, Omolola Odutola, disclosed that on Tuesday at about 10:30 a.m., operatives of the anti-kidnapping unit Eleweran responded to a distress call from a Cameroonian woman who recounted how she had been deceived into Nigeria by a fellow Cameroonian identified as Donald. According to Odutola, the victim said she arrived in Nigeria on September 29, 2025, after Donald promised to help her secure a Canadian visa. Upon landing at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, she was received by the supposed agency and transported to Mowe, Ogun State, where she and her 23-year-old younger sister were held hostage. Following the report, operatives of the anti-kidnapping unit stormed the hideout and rescued another victim, Kenge Mava, unhurt. Two suspects, Nzana Kamga Isidore and Tiego Steven, were arrested at the scene. Now, while the principal suspect, Donald, remains on the run, preliminary investigation revealed that the victim's family members in Cameroon had paid 3,600,000 CFA as ransom into the bank account of the fleeing suspect. Now, environmental activists have staged a peaceful rally in Abuja calling for the protection of smallholder farmers and greater scrutiny of industrial or factory farming practices in Nigeria. The protesters say multinational agribusinesses are threatening local food systems, livelihoods, and the environment, hence the need to secure their sustainability. Habibat Ajayi reports.
It was a day of solidarity chants, placard display, and strong messages as environmentalists and community advocates gathered to demand food sovereignty and justice for local farmers. The rally focused on the growing dominance of industrial farming, often called factory farming, which the protesters say undermines local food production and harms the environment. They called for support for agroecology, a farming approach they say is more sustainable and community-driven.
Paying attention to industrial animal farming in particular on not just our livelihoods but our environment and the health of our people. And often people ask the question if smallholder farmers can feed the world. I think what we should be asking is, can industrial agriculture feed the world? Because so far we have, there's not been any record of a country that has achieved food security or food sovereignty, for that matter, based on industrial farming. Rather, we've had countries like Tanzania achieve food sovereignty over 100%, by empowering the local farmers. And that's one of our objectives here, to campaign for increased support for the local farmers, which research has it that they provide food for more than 70% of our people.
Environmentalists warned against the entry of multinational corporations such as Brazil's JBS, accused globally of poor environmental practices. They compare the company's promises of jobs and growth to previous experiences with oil firms in the Niger Delta.
A company, JBS, is coming to Nigeria, and we are asking questions. Have you done an environmental impact assessment? Have you consulted with the communities? What modalities have you put in place to ensure that everybody is carried on board? And where would the land come from? Factory farming is high demand on land, high demand on feed, high demand on water. We're talking about large scale. A typical characteristics of factory farming is large scale, it's intensive.
The campaigner argued that government policies tend to favor big corporations, which neglect small-scale farmers who actually feed the nation.
Priority should be given to communities, but when you see what's happening, you find out that when these big agri companies come into the country or come into a community, they round up the people. They have a pattern, very, very predictable. They take over large swaths of land. They take over the livelihood of young people, women. I know what that does, to the local economy of those places. People that don't even have income can't even be assured of quality health, can't be assured of education, can't be assured of many of these things.
People can make an informed decision. That's the essence of mobilizing people for this one. So we are seeing that JBS, we are not anti-development. We are not the government should not bring in investors. But have they done necessary EIA, that is environmental impact assessment?
The rally ended with a solidarity walk and renewed calls for policies that prioritize small farmers, protect the environment, and promote safe, locally grown food. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
This is News Update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Army Chief visits Borno, charges troops to defeat Boko Haram. And more news when we return. To stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories once again. Court fixes November 20 for judgment in Nnamdi Kanu's terrorism trial. And Abuja Electricity Distribution Company sacks 800 workers. Now, moving on to more stories, the newly appointed Chief of Army Staff has prioritized frontline troops' welfare and end to insurgency in the Northeast region. He stated this during his first official visit to Borno State. And Trust TV's Beatrice Kuruti reports.
The operational tour is to assess and get the brief from senior officers of Operation Hadinkai in the war theater. The Army Chief, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, commissioned key projects at the Maimalari Barrack and addressed frontline troops. He revealed that welfare remains top priority and logistics support will be provided to enhance effective operations against terrorists.
And I'm aware of the challenges in the theater. My coming here today is first and foremost to appreciate the troops for what they have been doing and the extent they are going to, secure the entire area of operations. Motivating the troops, I intend to, uphold the soldier-first concept of my predecessor and will do everything to improve on that concept to ensure that our soldiers get what is due to them on time, and going forward, we'll see how we can extend that to both their families at home while they serve their fatherland.
Okay. Looking at what you intend to do with regards to ensuring that you have a sound administration.
Well, first and foremost is we ensure that the right people are in the right places. We appoint the right type of commanders and staff officers to various appointments that will ensure that they do what is best for the soldiers. We attempt to uphold fairness, justice in the systems to ensure that every person gets what is due to him or her within the system. And nobody is deprived of his due rights. And we'll continue to uphold that, and knowing fully well that the moral concept of fighting power is key to achieving our desired end state.
The Army Chief also paid a courtesy call on the Shehu of Borno, where he urged continued cooperation with the military and traditional leaders to mobilize communities for intelligence sharing. Beatrice Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Now, the 11th Governing Council of the University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University, under the chairmanship of Senator Olariwaju Tejuosho, has approved the appointment of Professor Hakeem Babatunde Fawehimi as the substantive Vice-Chancellor of the university. The appointment was announced during the 80th extraordinary meeting of the council held on Friday. A statement on Friday by the university's acting director, Information and University Relations, Habib Yakub, said the appointment takes effect from Tuesday, 10th February 2026 for a non-renewable tenure of 5 years. Professor Fawehimi is currently the Vice-Chancellor of the Nigerian British University, a conventional private institution in Asa, Abia State. Meanwhile, the council has approved the extension of the tenure of the acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor Matthew Adamu, until February 10th, 2026. Adamu was first appointed on 11th August 2025 by President Bola Tinubu. And now moving on, the Nigerian Council for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has confirmed that 176 people have died of Lassa fever in Nigeria. The latest epidemiological report released by the NCDC stated that as of epidemiological week 43, 2025, the case fatality rate now stands at 18.4%, up from 16.6% recorded during the same period in 2024. Lassa fever, described by the World Health Organization as an acute viral hemorrhagic illness caused by the Lassa virus, is transmitted primarily through contact with food or household items contaminated with the urine or feces of infected mastomy rats. According to the World Health Organization, the disease is endemic in the rodent population across parts of West Africa. As of week 43, Nigeria has reported a total of 955 confirmed cases. In total, for 2025, 21 states have recorded at least one confirmed case across 102 local government areas. And now in business, the Naira appreciated again on Thursday against the US dollar at the official foreign exchange market, its second gain this week. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Naira strengthened to 1,436.74 Naira per dollar, up from 1,438.49 Naira on Wednesday. At the black market, the currency also firmed to 1,445 Naira per dollar compared to 1,450 Naira the previous day. The appreciation follows a rise in Nigerians' external reserves, which climbed to $43.28 billion as of November 4th, 2025. Now, away from Nigeria, the wait for compensation for survivors and families of victims of the U.S. Embassy bombing in Nairobi continues. On Thursday, the ruling in a case where they want court to compel the Kenyan government to seek compensation from Washington on their behalf was deferred, with the judge saying he needed more time to study the case. The complainants who had gathered at the court protested the postponement, accusing the justice system of ignoring their suffering. Others said that their quest for justice was being politicized, pointing at the visit of U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance to Nairobi later this month as the possible reason for delaying the verdict. The U.S. government has only compensated American victims and embassy staff to date. More than 5,000 Kenyan survivors and relatives of victims have joined the class action lawsuit filed in 2021. And now in sports, the 2025 Confederation of African Football CAF Awards will take place in Rabat, Morocco on Wednesday, 19 November 2025. The CAF Awards is African football's highest recognition platform and celebrates the best players, coaches, clubs, and national teams on the continent. It also honors outstanding performances within the award year based on contributions at both club level and national team duty. CAF disclosed that several categories, including African Player of the Year, men and women, Coach of the Year, men and women, National Team of the Year, Club of the Year and Young Player of the Year, among others, will be presented at the 2025 edition. According to the Continental Football Body, each category is determined through a voting process involving national team coaches, captains, CAF technical experts, and media representatives selected across the continent. The choice of Rabat further reinforces Morocco's rising status as a major host hub for African football events. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do well to follow us on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news. Join us at 9 p.m. on News Hour for more news. I am Mimina Bagudu. Thanks for watching.